Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to sunny central Otago. I'm Mrs. Love Beetle and welcome to my channel. So the last time I did a recording, I just come back from a cruise, month-long holiday, and my glasshouse was just in shambles. I did tidy it up, but look what's happened in the 2 weeks since then. It has just gone crazy again. I have harvested quite a bit out of it. I'm just crawling under this tunnel here. You can see I've got some of the heritage tomatoes are starting to come away. They're yellow. There's some little orangey ones down there. This one, oh, my neighbour gave me. Oh, yucky, it's wet. And it's called Dad's Favourite. And there are a lot in there. I can see that the choco is now escaping out the skylight. So I think that's this afternoon's job. Over in this corner, hidden immensely, silver beet is doing incredibly good. Silver beet that was outside all went to seed. And if I can just get around the corner here, down here is the basil, which seems to be getting hit a bit by the slugs, but I've just been picking off the good leaves and drying those for later eating. Outside the glasshouse, a random pumpkin, probably left over from last year's seeds, has popped up. I'm going to leave it here because this is a really hard place to mow, and why not? So I see there's a baby pumpkin there, one over there. I do eat them when they're that little, but I tend to try and let them grow as much as possible. Over in here, the garlics have been taken out, as you can see, and dried, and I'm just waiting for the onions to die down. I'm letting the borage go to seed this year, so there's some here and there's some here, but that's because I want to move it into the back garden. They're not quite ready. I need to wait for these little bits to open up, and I can just see here one has opened up. If I can just get close enough. There we go, and as you can see in there, there's some little seeds, so I'll come in and grab those a little bit later. Because we were going away for such a long time, I just took all the bird netting off of the raspberry and I just let the birds have a go at it. However, the blackberry comes in a little bit later and it's just starting to go now. I picked one blackberry off it last night and it was delicious. So I think sometime in the next day or so I will get the bird netting up on this. All the potted plants are doing really, really well. I do see that the stevia is looking a bit wilty. I've just given it a wee bit of water. Ginger, it's the first time I've tried growing ginger and it's doing incredibly well. I'm going to take a guess it won't survive my central Otago winters. Haven't had a lot of strawberries. I think these ones might be just getting a bit too old and I need to get some new ones. The mint in the tin is starting to flower. I'll let that carry on for a little bit longer and then I'll cut it all back and try and get some nice little growth for harvesting, which I freeze in half cup blocks because I like to have a lot of mint sauce over winter and I like it out and fresh off my garden. The lavenders, well, they've got away on me. Normally I would have harvested them by now because we make our own lavender oil. This one's probably still okay. It's still got quite fresh looking flowers. It's not real seedy. We'll see how we go with that. The grapes have had a trim. They're probably due for another one. This year I'm actually going to trial making, I think they're called dolminos or dolminos. It's where you get grape leaves and you blanch them and then you roll up stuff inside them and eat them. I did try them many years ago, but it was cold and I didn't like it, and it was stuffed with rice, which I don't eat anyway. So I think I'm going to try it this time with maybe some cheese and shredded meat and maybe some salady stuff. Another grapevine is really loving this wet weather we're having. The new garden is mad. So this is my black boy peach, which has a few peaches, not very many. It's never been a great performer, and I do find that it's a very fragile tree. It's constantly breaking branches. The pumpkins, as you can see, have pretty much taken over this entire section. I'm going to trim them a little bit because I don't really want them to grow too much bigger. The beans have been very, very slow. I don't know why they've been so slow, but they're finally starting to come away. I suspect maybe it was just a bit too dry at first, but we changed our watering regime and it seems to be helping. Snow peas that I grew from the warehouse little gardeny things, they've really not done very good at all. And in here, this is my transplanted asparagus, so I'm just leaving that alone. And down there is a few dwarf peas. We're only picking enough just to have a wee snackle off of those. In here I've just transplanted all of the slips from the sweet potato and they're still alive, so that's really good. There's a few very small kohlrabis which I'll probably pull out. So what I've been doing with those is taking those and a few beets from over here and some turnips that I had. So the beets are all in here and I had turnips in there, and I've been crop potting them. and when they're sort of about half cooked, I pull them out and put them in the freezer for winter. This is bok choy, which is just going mad. I'm letting it go to seed because I want the seeds. And down here is another first for me. I'm growing peanuts, and I just bought some raw peanuts from Binnin and popped them in. Here are the brassicas. Again, they've pretty much just gone to seed, and I'm not doing too much with them. I really hope they set seed. I don't know if they will. I've chucked a couple of the spare kumara slips in there. These were given to me as slow bolt cabbages. Unfortunately, this never really did anything here. That's my scrap pile. I just chuck all the scraps in there, and that'll be next year's something garden. My corn, so this is the pink popcorn. It's doing really, really good. I'm very proud of it, and I've planted some of the climber beans under it, and hopefully they'll do what they're supposed to do. This was supposed to be mixed zucchini, but I see there's been a lot of discussion online about how they're actually all coming up as scallopinis, and I've seen that at least that one there is a scallopini, and I see there's a little scallopini down there too. So I'm going to take a guess. What I got here, oh shivers, that was a bee. There's a lot of scallopinis. I've done one big cut off of the rhubarb and gave that away. It really needs another one. These are my Jerusalem artichokes, or some people call them fartichokes. I grow them because they're low carb. That is new for me, but apparently once they're established, they stay forever. These are just bog standard yellow sweet corn. They're chucked in with a few beans under them, but they never came to much. This is just popcorn. My son spilt popcorn all over the floor, so I swept it up and thought, oh well, I'll just chuck it in the garden and see what happens. And guess what? It grows. So thought for next year. Down here, these are random Swedes. I had a heap of Swedes. Well, there's some marigolds and a little bit of English thyme over there as well. But I had about 1,000 Swede seeds that I'd had for about 10 years, and I didn't want them. So I threw it out here, and I thought if they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. And look, they grew. So that's cool. This is, I think, a plum tree that I've been nursing for a couple of years. I need to come out and give him a really good trim. He's terrible. Down here we've got some spinach, which is what I used to replace the turnips that were there. I did put a bunch of old grape branches underneath it before I put the soil in, and I can just see what looks like a baby grape growing. So, oh, there's one over there too. I'll probably pull them out because I've got a lot of grapes and I don't really need them. And then finally we've got the walnuts. So every year it comes up about this big and every year it dies. But this year I'm going to put a bit more effort into trying to keep it alive. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So yeah, generally I'm actually really happy with this experimental garden that I tried. It's the first year I've ever tried growing things in the tanks, and it's working really, really well. Oh yeah, and the sunflowers. I've got one sunflower out and he makes me happy. I'll just see if I can turn him around. Make sure I don't attack any bees again. There we go. Aren't you pretty? As I said, oh look, there's a couple of plums. As I said, this is a very weak branch. I can see that there's a branch up there that's snapped as well, so not awesome. Anyways, much, much longer than usual, but I had a lot to show you. There's a lot going on. Oh, I'll just got one more thing to show you. Oh, on a hot day like this is the place to be. It's the freezer. So as I was saying, this one's got beetroot and turnip, which I've half cooked and frozen. This one's just called roasties. I think this one's got turnip, beetroot and carrot. And then over here, this one's got carrot and some silver beet. And I know I've got some in here that have kumara and what have we got in you? Don't know. Oh, yummy ice cream. Gosh, I would like some of that today. So that's it about from me, I think. Enjoy your long weekend. I hope you get a chance to get out in the garden, that it's not too hot for you and you don't roast to death. And as always, if in doubt, let it sprout.